Okay, so um, this video is called "Who Has Privilege," and the just to get out in front of this thing, the answer is everybody has privilege. Everybody has some form of privilege. So if so like for example, since I know they're going to I know they're going to be mad that people use the word white privilege. So for example, to get out in front of that, Barack Obama's children have economic privilege, and they have many connections, um, because their father was the president and is now on the lecture circuit. The privilege. Okay, if we substitute a phrase for privilege, it's unearned advantages. So the prevailing wisdom in the United States especially, but in the West in general, not so much in Europe anymore, but in the West in general up until recently, has been that everybody is born equal, which is actually somewhat true because everybody is born with the right to be treated equally and to have equal conditions, but that's not what a lot of people think about that. It's that everybody's born equal in that as long as nobody's physically stopping you from doing anything, you can do anything. And as long as nobody's physically forcing you to do anything, you're choosing the things that you do. And so the wealthy and successful people are the people who pulled themselves up by their bootstraps and made something in themselves through their own efforts and didn't need anybody's help. Or if they did, yeah, we can be grateful, but it was their own ingenuity. And the successful people are the people who made good decisions, and the unsuccessful people are the people who made bad decisions. Well, we're starting to think a lot differently about that and a lot more realistically. Those people who are successful probably had a lot of advantages that got them there that they didn't earn. They had earned advantages when they did use their ingenuities and whatnot, but their underlying circumstances already put them ahead of other people. So when we talk about privilege, what we're trying to do is, if we're serious, if we aren't just saying you have whatever privilege and so fuck you, which some people, some lefties do. If we're serious, what we're trying to do is we're trying to understand how that works so that we can create an equality of conditions, so that people who have lots and lots of unearned advantages aren't forever outpacing people who don't. It's a means of seeing why those conditions are unequal to try and equalize those conditions. So the answer to who has privilege is everybody to some extent. If you were raised in a economically well-off family, you have economic privilege, regardless of any other like race, creed, whatever. And those. But those stack, right? So in any case, I'm going to be jumping in the Discord after this. So let's see what Prager U thinks. Who has privilege? As I say, the answer is everybody, but not to the same degree.
Privilege. What's the obsession with privilege?
I have to stop it already. I think I just pretty well explained what the obsession with privilege is. We're trying to figure out how to equalize conditions by examining the manner in which they're unequal.
It's driving me nuts. Not only didn't I
God,
have privilege,
Carolla.
I don't even know how to spell it.
No, you did.
There's a D in there somewhere, isn't there? If I told you a story about a kid who grew up poor, product of divorce, did a lot of dumpster diving, sister ran away at age 14, welfare and food stamps. If I told you that kid was black, you'd go, well, yeah, that's because of systemic racism. But if I told you that kid was me,
we'd say it's because you didn't have economic privilege. That's what we'd say. You were underprivileged when it came to your economic circumstances when you were born. That's what we'd say.
You'd go, what? What?
No,
What
we
are we
wouldn't.
doing? What happened to your privilege?
Why would we say that? What do you mean what happened to your privilege? You didn't have that particular type. You still have the white privilege, but you didn't have economic privilege.
The real white privilege
Yeah.
isn't privilege. It's knowing that nobody cares about you, good or bad.
The real white privilege is knowing that nobody cares about you. I don't even know how to...
No one's going to do anything for you because you're white, and no one's going to do anything against you because you're white.
Okay. What does that have to do with anything? What? Okay, so I think Mr. Carolla here, yeah, it's Adam Carolla. It's always been a fucking moron, in my opinion. Way before he ever did this shit, I never liked this idiot. So I think what Adam is trying to say is that he thinks that white privilege means that white people are actively being. He does. He thinks they're actively being privileged by other people.
I'll give you an example.
Yeah, give me an example.
When I get pulled over by a cop,
if you get pulled over by a cop, okay. If I just found out through Ancestry.com that I'm Mexican and my last name is probably Trujillo, but I'm white enough, as you can see. If I get pulled, okay, this is a good thought experiment. If I get pulled over, or if I'm okay, I got a speeding ticket once. When the lights flashed behind me, I was like, oh fuck, this is gonna cost me so much money. God damn it, I'm trying to get to work. I pulled over, I was like, God damn it. And the cop went up to me and I said, look, as you can see, I got my GPS here. I'm lost. I'm trying to get to a job. I don't know where I'm going. I'm really sorry. And the guy was like, no, it's cool. You know, he was actually really nice. He took off it was a double fine zone, and he took off the double fine. He was really nice to me. At no point during that interaction was I ever afraid for my life, or did I ever think to myself, boy, I better not do anything to make this guy scared so I might get shot. Those are things that I don't have to worry about that. The fact that I don't have to worry about that is an unearned advantage. Not to put too fine a point on it, but my son has a friend. He's black. His mom has had to have a few conversations with him about literally how to survive an encounter with the police if things go wrong, or there are misunderstandings, or somebody thinks that I can't even get into. I don't want to. I have never and will never have to have that conversation with my son. Why? So, if you're pulled over by the police and you're white, it's a fundamentally different set of things that you need to be worried about than if you get pulled over by the police if you're black in the United States.
I assume it's either because I was speeding,
Yeah.
or the cop's an overficious jerk.
Yeah, but if you were speeding or the cop is an overficious jerk and you're black, you have potentially something to worry about. Same circumstances, you're white, you don't. You just get annoyed like I did. And you.
But either way, my skin color doesn't play in.
Yes, it does. How does it not? What do you mean? Can you establish that, please? Of course it does.
If I was black, I'm assuming that it was driving while black, or that he was profiling me.
No, you're not assuming. What do you mean you're assuming he was You're not assuming any of those things. You don't care. You're not trying to get into the mind of the officer. You're hoping that that this isn't going to turn into a situation. It's not that he's profiling you. You don't have to get profiled in order to have something bad happen to you, because there's a perception that people of color in the United States are inherently more dangerous than white people. And so the police officer, even if he's acting in good faith, might freak out more or be a lot more on guard because you're a person of color than if you're black. He doesn't have to be This is the problem, guys. This is the problem. Racism is a system. It's not an attitude that one person has towards another. That's a type of racism. But what we're talking about is systemic racism. It's a system. It's not it's not this individual police officer's state of mind.
Let me give you another example of the white privilege.
Wait, that was it? That's all you had? I'm clipping. That's all you had to say on the matter? Here's Adam Genius's here's Einstein Adam Carolla's take on that. If I get pulled over if I'm white, it's because the cop's a jerk. But if I get pulled over if I'm black, it's because he's profiling me. But no, that's not right. Let's move on.
I'm talking about the privilege of not obsessing over privilege.
Okay, no, okay. The city of Shittsville has determined that in a particular district, the water supply is contaminated with lead. Well, here's my privilege. The privilege of not obsessing over this one community being contaminated by lead. What the fuck?
I had a neighbor call the police on me during the day, during the middle of the week, when I was doing a construction project because our phone lines got crossed. So I picked up the phone to call Anawalt Lumber. My neighbor picked up the phone. I said, oh, sorry, I think our lines got crossed somehow. Next thing I know, a police cruiser rolled up to my home.
This is a perfect example. We called the cops for everything. This is what defund the police means, guys. Defund, I wish people wouldn't say that. Restructure the police. Make it more like the European system where they have two tiers. They have like the first tier is like civil servants. And the second tier are the guys with guns who come and arrest you, right? So restructure and reallocate from there, because as you can see, we're pulling up to a very nice house in a suburb here in this example. So Adam Carolla getting the cops called on him is not gonna. Okay, if Adam Carolla was a black teenager in a worse neighborhood, getting the cops called on you could get you killed if by mistake. Getting the cops called on you could be very, very, very dangerous. And the cops getting called on black people for no reason is kind of a thing that happens here. And when that happens, a lot of the time that goes wrong. This is unwittingly a very good example of white privilege, because Adam Carolla doesn't have to worry about the cops getting called on him. It's annoying. It was wrong of the guy to do that. We need to change that. But if he was in different circumstances like the ones that I just mentioned, this could endanger his life. This one petty act by a neighbor could actually endanger his life.
Now, if I was black, I would have no choice but to think that was racially motivated.
It doesn't matter if it's racially motivated. It matters that it increases the likelihood of you dying.
I mean,
fuck.
Why else would your neighbor call the cops?
It doesn't matter what your neighbor did in this example. The neighbor in this example has nothing to do with anything. It's the fact that the police will show up to your house, and depending on who you are and what you look like, you could die
on you because your phone lines got crossed, unless in fact you're black. And as a matter of fact, I'm not even black, and I think it was a racist incident. Do you get it? Whites do have privilege, but not the privilege the race hustlers are selling. I don't think people really drill down enough on this.
I want to drill down into his cerebral cortex and somehow manipulate the structure of his brain to be able to look at this issue that he's talking about in a way that makes any kind of logical sense and in a way that's relevant to anything.
I've had horrible things happen to me my entire life. I've had school teachers and counselors that were horrible. I've had construction foremen who treated me like crap.
So we don't even need to say this, but this is equivocation. This is, yeah, if you're black, you're more likely to die by just getting pulled over by the cops for speeding. But I've had bad things happen to me. Everybody has bad things happen to them. Let's unask that question. Stop looking at this.
I've had program directors who treat me like crap. And the good news is I'm white. So I just know they're a-holes, not racist. Why?
It's not about... Okay, I'm going to try to calm down. I'm sorry. We're not talking about individuals that you interact with on a daily basis, on a moment-to-moment basis. We're talking about systems. The fact that Adam Carolla, if he was a black kid in a bad area... If somebody called the cops on that person maliciously, the outcomes that you would have to worry about would be different because of the system, not because of the individual cop who might come over to your house. That's what we're talking about, systems.
Why do we want anyone worrying about someone else's privilege?
Because if privilege makes these kinds of conditions unequal, we need to change that.
Who cares?
Well, people who are interested in ethics and justice and the good society, and just people with a basic functioning conscience.
This is America.
Yeah.
You make your own breaks.
No, you don't. The breaks that you get are literally given to you by other people. I can't, okay, I want to go be a programmer at Google and make $100K a year. I don't know anything about programming, but I can go make my own breaks. That's not how it works, you silly person.
Anyway, isn't the goal not to judge a person?
We're not judging people! We're talking about a system!
By the color of their skin, but by the content of their character?
I hate you. I hate you because now I have to... I hate you because now I have to pretend that I've read Letter from Birmingham Jail. Oh, you missed a lot, dude. I was yelling and screaming. He just invoked Martin Luther King to tell us, in order to tell us not to think about, in order to tell us to unask all these questions about racial inequality and just judge people individually by the content of their character. And I hate him. I hate Adam Carolla because he's making me read this, he's making me do this meme. This is a meme. Everybody does this. And I've never read the entirety of Letter from Birmingham Jail, even though we all pretend we did. First, I must confess that over the last few years, I have been gravely disappointed with the white moderate. I have almost reached the regrettable conclusion that the Negro's great stumbling block in the stride... This is in context, by the way. The great stumbling block in the stride toward freedom is not the white citizens counselor or the Ku Klux Klanner, but the white moderate who is more devoted to order than to justice, who prefers a negative peace, which is the absence of tension, to a positive peace, which is the presence of justice, who constantly says, I agree with you in the goal you seek, but I can't agree with your methods of direct action, who paternalistically feels he can set the timetable for another man's freedom, who lives by the myth of time, and who constantly advises the Negro to wait until a more convenient season. Shallow understanding from people of goodwill is more frustrating than absolute misunderstanding from people of ill will. Lukewarm acceptance is much more bewildering than outright rejection. Now, usually that's brought up with people who are talking about people protesting, but in this case, it's if you ever invoke Martin Luther King to say stop thinking about the issue of racism and just judge people by the content of your character, fuck you. because you are misrepresenting somebody. You're pretending that he would be on your side. Martin Luther King would not be on this asshole's side, as we just demonstrated.
I heard that somewhere. What's the guy's name? Marty?
Yeah, the guy who would be against everything that you're talking about right now. Yeah.
Anyway, privilege means you have it better than most.
No, it... No, it doesn't! Privilege means you have unearned advantages because of societal structures.
Not that you have it better than some. How about tall people? Tall people have an advantage over short people. Thin people have an advantage over fat people.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. People who can walk have an advantage over people who are in wheelchairs. So, in order to give the people who are in wheelchairs access to the same things that the people who are ordinarily mobile have, we build wheelchair ramps! Not because we are judging the content of individual people in wheelchairs' character, but to create an equality of conditions.
Attractive people, you're welcome, have an advantage over the homely. There are always going to be people.
Yeah, that's something we need to fix. How do we not need to fix that? If attractive people are having opportunities that less attractive people don't have, that's something that we need to examine. What are you trying? Just unask all of these questions. Just stop thinking about ethics at all. We have reached the absolute pinnacle of ethics in society. We don't need to ask any more questions or fix anything else. Fuck.
People lower than you on the totem pole, no matter what.
It's not about being higher or lower on a totem pole. It's about an equality of... Oh, I shouldn't have done this morning.
What color your skin is. Wait a minute, are we allowed to say totem pole? I feel like that's racist. Every minority person living in the United States in 2021 is doing better than people living in the Congo, Bangladesh, or many other places.
Why is that our standard? I don't know if I can get through this one. Oh my God, how is there 2 minutes left of this? Yeah, you have to deal with, like, the systems in which you live, the conditions under which you live, produce racist outcomes for you and worse outcomes for you than me. But, I mean, you're not starving.
Around the world. And if you don't believe me, then why they're all trying to get here? Do the math. We're a systemically racist country that people are trying to kill themselves. They're literally risking their lives trying to get into the systemically racist country. Let's just say this country was a facility. And
I just want to say for the record, I can't do this. I don't know if I can. So, people from those parts of the world are trying to get into a systemically racist country because they're starving and dying.
Facility was systemically racist. And every year, people died trying to hop the fence and climb the wall to get into the facility.
If because on the other side of the wall, you have substantially more practical problems that you're dealing with. Yes. Why is this? Why are you incredulous about this example?
People of color?
Yeah.
Would that make sense?
Yes. How does it? It only doesn't make sense, Adam, because your brain is kind of the size and shape of my mouse.
Great news is that if you're willing to bust your hump, there's no better country to do it in. So maybe we should stop obsessing.
No, there is. England would be a better one. actually. Germany. That's the one that a lot of those people are trying to get into. Way more than here.
On skin color.
We're not talking about skin color. We're talking about the way that skin color affects your life based on the conditions under which we all live, which at this moment are different based on many things, one of which is skin color.
Or gender,
that too.
Sexual proclivities.
Yep, those are all things that are different.
And get on with the hump busting. You know what?
So, Adam, are you saying that a person who is affected by systemic racism or systemic oppression or systemic they can't handle these words because they're so goddamn sensitive. How about systemic difference in conditions? We'll say that. We'll be as euphemistic as possible so you don't have to think about any of these moral or ethical questions. Are you saying that a person who has less opportunity by virtue of the fact that they're, I won't even use black anymore because they really don't like when you use that example. There's less opportunity because they're gay in America. Somebody that I know in the 90s who had a very, very good career in the military. It was discovered that he was gay and he was thrown out and he lost everything. Are you saying that happened because he wasn't sufficiently busting his ass? This is exactly the problem, guys. Hard work doesn't get you to where the people who have more advantages. Hard work doesn't it, to an extent it does. My life that I have today is the result of my hard work and ingenuity and determination and all these platitudes that these people would say. But I'm here. I'm not. That's not going to do it. And even the modest life that I have today was also the result of my having connections. I was on programs that allowed me to attend school for free. The job that I have now, the only reason I have this job, which is a fucking union job with really good benefits, is because I knew a guy who knew the person who did the hiring. That's it. I had an unearned advantage. We all have them. We all use them, but you're more likely to be where you are because of your connections than you are by just busting your hump.
Fix all this nonsense.
What?
A little gratitude. You got up this morning. You put your shoes on.
Mm-hmm.
Your fridge was full. You hugged your kids.
You got pulled over, and you were a college student. You got pulled over because you fit the description. The one part of the description that somebody had, and the cops ripped you out of your car and beat the fuck out of you, and then were like, oh, sorry, we got the wrong guy.
You said goodbye to your wife.
You said goodbye to your
wife. You said hello to your girlfriend. Gratitude for living in the best country in the world.
We're not the best country in the world. That's probably Norway.
At the best time to live in the best country in the world.
The economic inequality is at an all-time high. Economic opportunity is at an all-time low. This is the best. Oh, you fucking... I can't believe I'm going to say this. You're going to make me say it. You fucking boomer.
Whatever your skin color is, there's no better country than the United States.
No, Germany, probably. England. Any of the Scandinavian countries. New Zealand.
To call your home. I'm Adam Carolla for Prager University.
God, this video was made possible. All right, we're done with that. That was hard for me to get through. I'm going to jump in the Discord.